Episode 38, MacArthur's Triumph Tour. General Douglas MacArthur's tour through my neighborhood happened just after the Korean War. Politics was regularly discussed in my home. My parents read the daily newspaper, listened to radio news, and generally understood current events, recent and other history. They had a definite worldview and knew where the Murphys fit into that world. Probably the most important political thing happening then was the power struggle going on in Boston. The Yankee Protestants, acting as the Republican Party, were losing their control over state and local government. They were being replaced by Irish Catholics acting as the Democrat Party. There was still some discrimination against Roman Catholics in jobs, college admissions, and many other things as I grew up. My family's worldview was Roman Catholic, anti-British, anti-Yankee, but very patriotic and supportive of the USA. We were taught that the USA was the land of opportunity. The message was that if we worked hard, went to college, and had some luck, we could do anything. My father was a Democrat and a Union man, but very anti-communist and socially traditional. Most of the politicians in Cambridge were Democrats. My father was very critical of the glad-handing, backslapping type of politics, but he was familiar with the local Pauls. Our city councilor was a local undertaker, a Democrat named Charles Watson. The state rep was a Republican named Lindstrom and lived 2 blocks away. I knew his son. The congressman was Jack Kennedy and later Tip O'Neill. Pretty powerful politicians, eh? We were aware that the power to get a government job or fix tickets and so forth resided with those elected officials, but my father never asked for such favors. Later, my brother and I did use politicians for favors as we got older. A big political event in our neighborhood happened in 1951 when I was 11 years old. It took place right next to my pond in the city. See my other podcast. General Douglas MacArthur, the hero of World War II and the Korean War, a few months after being fired by President Truman for insubordination, made a triumphant tour of the USA. In April of 1951, MacArthur's famous "Old Soldiers Never Die" speech was made to Congress. He was adored by the public. A quote from Time magazine, August 5, 1951, follows. Boston turned out in mid-afternoon to greet him as though he were just home from the wars. 20,000 packed into Dewey Square to cheer his arrival, and 500,000 lined the route of the triumphal motorcade. His motorcade went right up Storrow Drive onto Soldiers Field Road and right by the River Street Bridge. My family and I were part of that 500,000. We cheered him in front of the Coca-Cola plant very near my pond in the city as he went by in an open automobile. That was the first big-time person I ever saw with my own eyes. MacArthur was considering a run for the presidency at that time. He was strongly supported by conservative forces. My father thought MacArthur was great. I was aware of national politics and had read about MacArthur, although I was still a snot-nosed brat. I agreed with his aggressive military tactics in Korea, especially against Red China. I was a budding anti-communist snot-nosed brat. Thank you for viewing or listening to my podcast episode. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, and if you so choose, I ask you to send a good review and perhaps refer friends who might be interested in this podcast series. Again, my thanks.